Welcome to this Alfresco community video. We are going to learn about Alfresco LDAP configuration today. I'm Angel Borroy and a proud member of the Order of the Bee. Please join the community. We are going to start with a sample LDAP, which is from Alfresco.com, having different groups and having different people inside. And we are going to configure this inside Alfresco. Alfresco LDAP is a subsystem inside Alfresco. So it's a module that can be configured independent from other subsystems. This subsystem, this authentication subsystem have two different features. The first one is authentication. You can delegate your authentication to the LDAP, so the credentials are sent to the LDAP, and you have you are not storing that credential inside Alfresco. And also you have the synchronization feature. In this case, you can copy the people and the groups from the LDAP to Alfresco. So all the subsystems can be configured by including the different properties inside your Alfresco configuration file, which by default is Alfresco global properties. And in the case of the subsystems, when there are more than one of the same type, they can be placed in other special path, which is called subsystems. But in this case, we are going to use Alfresco global properties because it's easy to configure in that way, and it's more or less the same if you use that other path outside. The first thing to configure a subsystem is to know which are the properties you have available to configure. So you can search LDAP at docs.alfresco.com, and you can see all the different properties inside. So you have all the documentation to configure LDAP authentication and also LDAP synchronization, which is here and below, okay? And also you can find that properties of the Alfresco source code in GitHub or in Subversion or in any other source. You can see the default values for every property, okay? So what else? You can also find these properties inside your Alfresco installation. In the Alfresco repository jar, which is inside that webinlib folder inside the Alfresco war artifact, you can see that folder, that Alfresco subsystems LDAP folder, including the properties. So if you want to know what is exactly running in your system by default, you can see this file. Anyway, we are starting to define our samples, and we are going to define three different samples. The first one is just only for authentication, so users are not stored in Alfresco. They are just only using the credentials by the LDAP. The second one is including authentication and also synchronization, just copy from the LDAP users and also groups. And the third one is a sample on how to apply a filter on the LDAP, just to bring that only some users and some groups to our Alfresco. Okay, so the configuration is done on the Alfresco global properties, right? Alfresco global properties is located in Tomcat Server classes. And the first one is just only for authentication. The authentication chain include the different authentication subsystems you can include. In this case, we are including the Alfresco default authentication subsystem, which is called NTLM, which is a user password stored in the Alfresco database. And also, we are including our LDAP. In this case, we are affecting users stored on the local database and also from the LDAP. But we can use only one authentication mechanism, and it works. Okay, so let's define that the authentication is active, is running, and this is our LDAP URL. And the second one is how the users are defined on my LDAP. In this case, I'm using this special character just to note, just to declare to Alfresco where the user login is. So we have different users in our LDAP properties, and you see that this is the same string we are using on the properties, and just identifying this as the user login name. So if I try to log on Alfresco by using the credentials on the LDAP, I will in, okay, but no credentials are stored on Alfresco for this user, right? When I log in, Alfresco is creating my user home. So if I'm logging also with other user, for instance this one, okay. As you see, Alfresco is creating every user every time if it goes inside, okay. If we see the same folder, the same home folder for the users by using the administrator, we can see that Angel and Miguel has the folder. And also if we try with third one, probably this, okay. We are going to see how Alfresco is creating also this user, right? Okay, so we are done. We have seen how Alfresco can be configured for authentication with LDAP. But go ahead, go with the next feature. We have the same authentication properties, and now we are going to use the synchronization feature. For synchronization, it's required a bind user to Alfresco because we need to perform some queries on the system. So in this case, we have defined this Alfresco bind user, which is a special user on our LDAP, which is this one, right? Which had rights to make that queries that we need to extract the groups and the people from Alfresco and to copy them inside Alfresco. So we are just including that search base for groups, which is exactly this one. We are storing inside groups of type POSIX group, okay. So we are synchronizing every group from this branch, and the same for the people, right? We are choosing this branch, and inside we have people, right? People, which is account, right? So we are synchronizing every user which is of kind account. This process, this copy from the LDAP to Alfresco happens in a synchronous way. So you can define when you want that this process happens. This is a current expression, so this is every time at midnight. But you have to define when. Probably if you have not many changes on your LDAP, this should be nice. But you can define it more short space, and also you can define if this is going to be produced on the startup of the Alfresco or not. Okay, so as we are synchronizing every user, okay, we'll see that Alfresco is creating a user home for every user, right? Alice. These are the users we are synchronizing. So Alice, Angel, Daniel, John, okay. We have all these one synchronizes. And also we have the groups. We have two groups, the depth and sales group. And we can see that these groups are also synchronized with Alfresco, right? Depth and sales. Okay, and every user, for instance Alice, can log in on our Alfresco, right? Okay, so now we have synchronized the groups and the people from an LDAP inside Alfresco by using binding. The last sample is again an authentication, but you see that I'm including that property. I will show you later why I'm including this one, because I'm synchronizing again with the same groups and the same people brands, but now I'm making a query. I'm declaring that I only want to synchronize people which is for group depth, which belongs to group depth. So we only want that Tiago, Angel, Mikel, and Daniel will be allowed to access to from the LDAP. This is why we are including this one. So I want only that people which is synchronized from the LDAP will access Alfresco. If any other people like Alice, which is outside this group, is successful logging on the LDAP, I don't want that user to access, because I only want that the people synchronized to access, right? So just to see this on our Alfresco, this is our third Alfresco, we can see that in the repository we have different user homes for just only for the users which are inside this group, this depth group, right? And if we try to access with I don't know, with probably Daniel, we see that we can access the Alfresco. But if we try to access with a user which is from the LDAP but is not inside that group, we can see that no, we cannot access, right? So these are a very simple approach to Alfresco LDAP configuration. You have all the information, you have all the documentation in Alfresco resources, you have also the source codes there to see, but main things are that you can authentify and you can synchronize your LDAP users with Alfresco. We were using Open LDAP, but you can use also your Active Directory, which is more or less the same. And we were using just one LDAP, but you can use different LDAPs in the same way, just using that authentication setting. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and just see you next time. So bye.